Vib-Ribbon was released in 1999 in Japan and 2000 in PAL regions. It was created by Masaya Matsuda and his team at Nana Onsha, the same developers who made the Parappa games. They worked with a music group by the name of Laugh and Peace, who produced 6 songs for the game. This is such a wonderfully unique looking game, though when it was released it was heavily criticized by some for its simplistic graphics. But the game makes it work so well, and they really couldn't make the game look very complex considering the CD swap feature. The game loads most of its data to the RAM, allowing you to swap out the CD with any audio CD you got so you can play whatever music you want, and it'll generate a stage for it based on the song. This is such a wonderful feature, though the music that comes with the game is incredible too. It's got such a cute and weird vibe, and it's extremely unique. The game is played by hitting one of 4 buttons in response to an obstacle. L for the squares, down for the triangles, R for the loops, and X for the squiggly lines. But as you play the harder stages, the obstacles will combine, so you have to press 2 buttons at once. Like a square with a squiggly line in it will be X and L. It took me a while to get used to, but once I did, it works really well. In the hardest stages the game has to offer, the camera will move around a lot more, and obstacles will overlap before they get to you trying to throw you off. It gets really challenging, but it can be so much fun. The game's main character, Vibri, is a rabbit who changes forms depending on how you're doing. If you keep doing well, she'll become Queen Vibri. If you're doing bad, she'll turn into a frog and then a worm. And if you still struggle, you'll get a game over. But if you do well after you change forms, you can return back to the normal form. Vibri is such an adorable character, and they did a great job giving her lots of personality. The fact that the tutorial is its own song where Vibri sings the objective of the game is so cute. This game is just wonderful, and the fact that there's technically an endless amount of content is so awesome. I can pick any audio CD and just have fun. I burned multiple discs for just this game, and I can also play other discs like Sonic CD. Most Sega CD games let you use them as audio CDs and play their soundtrack, so it gives me even more options. It feels really weird to put in a Sega CD game or a Sega Saturn game just to play its music in Vib-Ribbon. This game is incredible, and it's a shame it never came to North America, at least in a physical form, though it did release on the PlayStation Store digitally in 2014. This game is absolutely worth a shot, and I can easily recommend it. Now, after this, it seems they weren't quite sure what to do with Vib-Ribbon. Since the first game is technically endless, they decided to take it in a different direction. The first sequel is Mojib-Ribbon for the PlayStation 2, released in 2003 only in Japan. It's a calligraphy hip-hop game of all things. In this game you play as Mojibri, who is this little living ink boy, and he's searching for a ring that unlocks the secrets of the universe. It's really bizarre. The game is controlled entirely with the right analog stick. You press down on these circles and then up on these blocks. You have to complete a circle of calligraphy before the block or shogi piece becomes solid, and you flick the stick up to fly to the next section. And you also get to refuel your ink. If you fail too much, you'll change forms just like Vibri does, but here it's based on your ink levels. Once it reaches the bottom and you're all out of ink, that's when you switch forms. You have to lift the joystick at the end of a phrase, otherwise you'll waste too much ink on the last character, and it'll look all blotchy and your controller will vibrate. You also have to flick the analog stick up right before you flick it downwards to apply the appropriate amount of pressure, but as you can tell, I'm really bad at it, so my writing comes out really light and faint. There are other characters that join you along the way, and they have their own voices and writing style, but the basic gameplay doesn't change. The game has a very unique flow to it, but honestly once I started getting the hang of it, I started enjoying it a lot. It feels like you're trying to stay with the flow of the song so Mojibri can do his funny raps. Also, the backgrounds look really cool. I love the old school Japanese ink aesthetic. And once you get further into the game, you can get alternate versions of songs and even add your own lyrics that the characters will rap. I'd honestly say this one's worth checking out. I can understand why it didn't release in the West, since it's just so deeply rooted in Japanese calligraphy, but it's still a shame because this game is pretty cool. I don't like it as much as Vib-Ribbon, but it's a good game regardless. The last game to talk about is Vib-Ripple for the PlayStation 2, released 2004, and it was also a Japan exclusive. This game returns Vibri to the spotlight as the main character, but it's extremely bizarre. The whole game is basically like you're jumping on a huge drum, like it's a trampoline, trying to jump into characters to make them come alive, and you get points for each one. You have to find the creatures or items that are outlined within this crown, and once you find them you beat the stage, but you can also try to find many optional ones to get more points. points. There are also little poop that you need to avoid. They slide towards you when you land, just like it would do if you were on a trampoline. You gotta avoid them or you'll turn into a frog. Vib also announces everything you find, and it's very cute. You press X as you're falling down, and then release it right before you go upwards to really get some good height. It was honestly kind of satisfying, but my main issue with the game is that, well, this is it. It feels like a fun distraction or like a cute little mini game, but it's not something that has the same lasting appeal as the original Vib Ribbon had. It's a decent little game, but it feels too far removed from the more rhythm-oriented predecessors, and that makes this a really awkward entry in the series, one I don't really recommend checking out. I wish that this was a side activity in a true sequel to Vib Ribbon. Like if they made another game that's just like the first one, just with higher fidelity graphics, maybe some fun extra little effects and stuff, and this was like the side mode, but having this be its own game just jumping on drums, I don't feel like it holds up. And that's it for the franchise. Honestly, the original Vib Ribbon stands out as an amazing game that holds up great today. I wish we could see a new port to bring it to modern hardware, or at least to PC. If they allowed you to insert MP3 files and generate new stages, that'd be amazing. This game is incredible. Mojib-Ribbon is a pretty decent game too, but Vib-Ripple is just a strange curiosity, and that's sort of it. I hope you liked this little walk through the Vib Ribbon games. Thank you for watching.